So on this presentation, I want to talk about why Germany, about the DAAD, and then we also talk about the general admission requirements, especially for SHS graduates. Then we'll discuss also about the Studienkolleg, and then language requirements, and then we'll just give an overview on your step-by-step way to study in Germany. So why Germany? Yeah, first and foremost, German research has always been outstanding, and in one university alone, the Göttingen University, it's produced over 44 Nobel laureates. And yesterday I was reading something about the Charité Medical School in Berlin, and in the field of medicine, physiology, over half of the Nobel laureates are originating from Charité Medical School. Yes. Yes. And also, did you know that Germany is the largest member of the EU, and also is the most popular destination for most people, especially for studies. International students population is over 300,000, which is making close to 13% of the total student body. And Germany is one country with the largest or the very wide number of universities. So in one country alone, we have over 300 tertiary institutions, and you can certainly find a place to go and study. So if you go to the universities, there's a tradition of excellence in research and in tuition, and German universities always offer first-class services for international students. German universities also offer a broad variety of subject areas, and you can find a lot of courses taught in German language. I'm sorry. You can find a lot of courses taught in German language, but there are also some courses which are taught in the English language. And in German universities, there's also very low cost of tuition or moderate tuition fees. And Germany is a place where there's low cost of living if you're comparing it to other places in Central Europe. In fact, you can have a room which is costing you about 250 euros, but perhaps if you go to neighboring Denmark, the same size of room will be costing you about 450 euros. Yeah. So let me also introduce you to the DAAD. Perhaps some of us have heard about the DAAD. DAAD is a German abbreviation for Deutsche Akademische Austauschdienst, and in English we say German Academic Exchange Service. DAAD is in the business of promoting academic exchange and cooperation by providing information and funding. And DAAD is more like the mouthpiece of German universities. And DAAD runs a worldwide network of information centers, like we have in Accra, the DAAD Information Center Accra. And you also have a map which is showing you all other locations of DAAD. Aside that, you know, DAAD is the biggest scholarship awarding body, and they are offering over 73,000 scholarships, in fact, per year to international students. And DAAD was founded in 1925, and it has a yearly budget of over 400 million euros. So these are the three main goals that DAAD represents. First, a scholarship for the best, and if you want to apply for a scholarship from the DAAD, then you have to merit the scholarship. DAAD also offers expertise in academic collaboration. So every now and then there's a growing number of academic cooperation between German universities and foreign universities, and this is mainly spearheaded by the DAAD. DAAD also offers this open door approaches. So every now and then there are new programs, new projects, new scholarship schemes that are coming in. The general admission requirement is, for example, if you want to go and study a bachelor's in Germany, you can go with the WASI or the A level. These are the minimum requirements for university. If you want to go in for the postgraduate degree, then at least you should have your bachelor's degree. If you find a course which is taught partly in English or entirely in English, then you also need to show proof of your English proficiencies. I mean, some of the schools may ask for extra requirement like the test as, especially for undergraduate students, or the GRE for graduate students. On the website, which is showing here, the ANABIN website, you can always go there and then find out whether your degree or your certificate qualifies you to enter a German university. So now, since we are talking more about entering into bachelor degree programs, we'll dwell more on WASI graduates. Generally, with a WASI certificate, you cannot enter directly into a German university. So you first have to go through the program called the Studienkolleg, what Mamiya is going through now in Nordhausen. And the Studienkolleg is a preparatory program that allows you 2 semesters to study, and then you pass an exam at the end of the 2 semesters called the Feststellungsprüfung. Then once you pass this exam, you can now be allowed to start your degree program. So for example, if you intend to study at Berlin University, you can apply to Berlin University, but you always indicate in the application form that you want to take part in the Studienkolleg. You have to take that you have not done the Feststellungsprüfung or the Studienkolleg, and you apply through the university, and then they will assign you to the particular Studienkolleg. There are only very few Studienkollegs in Germany which may accept applications directly. For example, in Bochum, there's one which accepts applications directly, and then once you pass the Studienkolleg in Bochum, you can use it to apply for universities, especially in the North Rhine-Westphalia area. So Studienkolleg are divided into these 4 courses. So we have the G course, which is more for people in the humanities, like if you are studying law, political science, anthropology, psychology, so on. Then you do the G course, and G course you be studying courses like German literature, history, social studies, English too as a course. And we have the M courses for medicine. So I'm sure Mamiya is studying courses like German, biology, chemistry, mathematics, physics, in preparation to go and study course in medical science or pharmacy or biology, or courses in the biological science field. Then we have the T courses, which are for people who are interested in architecture, in civil engineering, chemistry, informatics, and so on. And there you study courses like German, certainly, mathematics with informatics, physics, chemistry, and English. In fact, for the Studienkolleg, everybody also learns German as a subject. And then we have the W courses, which are for people mostly in the business subject fields, like economics and so on, or business management and law and politics sometimes. So you learn German, you learn mathematics, you learn economics, you learn English, you learn social studies. I mean, generally, for Studienkollegs, there are no or moderate tuition fees. In fact, it's just like being a student in Germany, but you are only starting first with these 2 semesters. So you are also more like treated like a student in Germany. And once you apply and you are registered for Studienkolleg, you pay either this administrative fee, and this one allows you also in most cities to use public transport system once you are registered for the semester. Yeah. There's a general website about Studienkolleg. You can just go there and click, but please note that you apply for Studienkolleg by applying first through the university. So as I said, almost all the Studienkollegs can be free of charge, but the other most important thing is that at the end of the 2-semester program, you write the Feststellungsprüfung, which will qualify you to start studying at the undergraduate level in Germany. So now the major thing, apart from passing your WASI, is also the language requirement. In Germany, we have some bachelor's programs taught in English language. But as I said, with just WASI, you cannot enter straight into German university. You would have to do the Studienkolleg. And so even though you are going to learn perhaps a course which may be taught entirely in English language, then you would have to go first through the Studienkolleg, which is always taught in German. So perhaps you start 2 semesters learning the Studienkolleg, and then after that you can go on to do your undergraduate program taught entirely in English language. And the other thing about learning course in English language is that if you start learning in your home university, perhaps you start learning at the University of Ghana for at least 1 academic year, then you can gain direct entry into an English taught course in Germany. So it means that generally, if you want to start undergraduate just with your WASI in Germany, then you have to go through the language proficiency of at least getting to the B2 level, going through Studienkolleg, and then you start your degree program in German. So whether you're going to take a course in English or in German, you still have to go through Studienkolleg. And Studienkolleg is mostly taught in English language. So now on this slide, learning German, there are 2 tests that you use to prove your German proficiency, which is the DSH, which can only be written in Germany. But you can also write the test DAAD, which you can write it here in Ghana through the Goethe Institute. You can learn German in Ghana here at the Goethe Institute. Let me just give a brief overview about application to German universities. To find study options, you can go to study-in.de, and this will take you to the home pages of the various universities. So you can see whether you want to study what medicine, business subjects, or any course at all. You can find through the study-in.de. And when you go to the home pages of the university, you can find brief information about the application procedure. Some universities accept application directly, but others also will ask you to apply through what we call the Uni Assist. And Uni Assist, you find the website there, www.uni-assist.de. So through Uni Assist, you can select for whichever course you want to study, and then you apply electronically through the Uni Assist. But at the end, you have to print out your application, sign it, and then include a payment of 75 euros. You pay usually by a bank transfer. So either you pay through a Ghanaian bank, or perhaps if you have family living in Germany or anywhere else, they can still transfer money to their account on your behalf. And then you can include the evidence of payment to your application and send to the university's address. So most of the time, I mean, you can find basic information about applying when you first go through the study-in.de. So applying through the Uni Assist will cost you money, 75 euros for the first application and 15 euros for subsequent application. So let's say you want to apply to 3 schools, then you pay 75 and then 15 and 15. That makes about 105 euros. So here at the Goethe Institute, going back to language proficiency, you can start with A1, which is a basic user, and then go on to A2, and then B1 and B2. You can also go on to the C1 level. To gain admission to the Studienkolleg, the minimum language proficiency is at least B1, but you can go as far as B2, so to really give you an opportunity to apply to a lot more schools and their programs. So for a course taught in whether English or German, you know, for undergraduate, if you have just WASI and you haven't spent any semester at any Ghanaian university, then you have to get a German proficiency. There may be one or two preparatory course or Studienkolleg program which will prepare you for English taught course, but I mean the one I know of charges so high on tuition fees. So generally, if you want to start Studienkolleg, let's say you need German proficiency, minimum B1, or better still, you get a B2 proficiency. So you can do all these levels, A1, A2, B1, B2, up to C1 here at the Goethe Institute. This is just giving you a brief idea about the tuition fees and the duration, course duration here at the Goethe Institute. So from A1 to B1, you can do it intensively, 2 months for each level. So you can start with A1 2 months, A2 2 months, and then B1 2 months. So in half a year, 6 months, you can get to the B1 level. At the B2 level, here at the Goethe Institute, it can only be done in 4 months. This is the course structure they have for now. Perhaps it may change, but for now, you can only do the B2 in 4 months. The next course registration will start from 17th of August. I mean, the next course will start from 17th of August, but the registration will start from 1st of August. You can always contact the Goethe Institute for further information about their pricing and fees. You can also find opportunities of learning German in Germany. I mean, sometimes it will even give you an opportunity to learn faster. I mean, learning in the country. So we have an organization called the FADAF, and they have these listed language schools. So you can go to the Studienkolleg Stuttgart. Their website is here. In München, the IIK Düsseldorf. We also have Interkulturelle Bildung Hamburg, and we have their websites here. You can just go and then find out their courses. But let's say if you want to compare the pricing of Goethe Institute and in Germany, of course it's a little more expensive in Germany. And if you are prepared, you can perhaps start just with a basic level, A1, and maybe continue to go and do language in Germany, complete it, and then now complete an application to start a Studienkolleg in Germany. Another thing too that language schools offer is Vorbereitungscourse. To pass the to gain entrance into a Studienkolleg, you have to write an entrance exam, and sometimes this entrance exam can be a bit difficult, or because you just completed your language proficiency, perhaps maybe you might find things a bit difficult with hearing, and so many other things may happen. And it's always good that maybe you have passed some time with a Vorbereitungscourse or like a preparatory course to help you write and pass the entrance exam for Studienkolleg. So some language schools, like the ones I mentioned before, the Studienkolleg and so on, they offer also a preparatory course to pass the entrance exam for Studienkolleg. And likewise, the ones here, like Baltic Sea International Campus, Spark Academy in Karlsruhe. And you can go on our DAAD website for international programs, and you can find a lot of language schools, and also that offer preparation to write the DSH exam or Studienkolleg entrance exam. Now, other requirements for entrance into bachelor degree program may be, for example, the test as. And test as is an aptitude test that you can write in so many countries. So in Ghana, you can write it here at the Goethe Institute. It may not be a mandatory requirement, but it sometimes enhances your chances of finding admission in various universities. For example, if maybe your WASI result is not too strong, I mean, this exam will offer an opportunity to compare you to other international students. So, yeah, you could find out more about the TestAx exam when you go to testus.de, and you can register and pay for the exam and write it here at the Goethe Institute. So these are a few things you have to note. If you want to study in Germany, you have to check your financial status. I mean, discuss with your parents or your sponsors so that they know the financial implications of what you want to go in for. There's no tuition fee. Living costs may be very moderate, but one always has to prove financial capability when you are applying for the student visa. And you need about 8,000 euros a year as living expenses. It may be quite a bit of money, but I mean, perhaps when you're in Germany, you could even live under 8,000 euros, but this is the minimum amount of money that the embassy insists. I was just checking the embassy requirement this afternoon, and they have even changed it to mean that you need at least 720 euros a month. So it's now about 8,420 euros per year to meet the visa requirements. People always ask if there are scholarships available. There are scholarships, but mostly for postgraduate, that is masters and upwards. For undergraduate programs, you may not find scholarships. But usually when you are a continuing student, let's say you have completed at least your first semester in Germany, you may find some chances of getting maybe short-term scholarships here and there, but I mean, it's not guaranteed in so many ways. So every time for a bachelor degree program, you must be prepared to take care of yourself. There's no tuition fee, but living costs you have to take care of. All the same, you can go on our funding guide and find out so many opportunities that may be available. So it's funding guide, www.funding-guide.de. And then choosing a program, you can use these websites, study-in.de. And for many international programs or courses taught in English language, you can go on daad.de/international-programs. You always need to check for admission requirements anytime you are applying. I mean, sometimes some schools may say you need at least B1, others may also maintain B2. So you need to check all these. And you can check on academic requirements, on the ANABIN website to see whether if it's WASI you wrote, or the A-level, or the baccalaureate, the international IB, whether it allows you entry into university or not. You can check all this from the ANABIN website. So this brings us to the end of the presentation. You can always contact the DAAD by email, or you can go on our website, or you can like our Facebook page so that you get hints on so many important things. Let me check if any of us has some questions. Yeah, there are no questions coming up now, but the questions that some people were posing, for example, were about maybe living and working in Germany as a student. Maybe Mamiya, would you have anything to say about it? Yes, Mamiya.
Okay, as a student, you're allowed, especially in Studienkolleg, as a student, you're allowed to work only during vacations. If it's not vacations, you are not allowed to work, and it's stated in your visa. So then even if you go to an agent or an agency and you tell them that you want to work, they ask for your visa, and you need it to be written in the visa that you're allowed to work. if it states that you're not allowed to work, then they can't give you they can't offer you any work to do. Then it's stating in the visa that you're only allowed to work during during vacations. That's the only condition under which you can work here in Germany if you're a Studienkolleg. But then if you're doing if you're in a language school, you can't work at all. But then once you enter the university, you can work during the semester and on vacations. But Studienkolleg, you can work only during vacations.
Oh, okay. And then how about this, the entrance exam for the Studienkolleg? How did you find it?
The entrance exam for the Studienkolleg, I think it's something no one should take lightly, especially if you're someone who learns the country in your homeland, not in Germany here. You learn language in your homeland, not in Germany here. Because first, they used to give priority to countries like Africa and countries in Africa and other things. But then right now, it's like if you're the best, that's when they pick you. But then you get people who have lived in Germany and studied the language in Germany for 2 or 3 years. Then you find yourself coming from Ghana or whichever country you're from, and then you have to write the language, you have to write the exams right after that. That's to say you arrive here in Germany. And it's not so, as in, the fact that you only learn the German in the class and you speak here is another ball game. And then coming to write it right here too is also something else. So I think the best thing is to come here and do a full writing course. Or maybe when you write it, you can pass. But then that's not always the case. Well, I had to do like a Vorbereitungs course, a preparation course for the Aufnahmeprüfung, and then I wrote the Aufnahmeprüfung later. That was 5 months after I arrived here in Germany.
Okay. And how much was the Vorbereitungs course?
I did my Vorbereitungs course in Baltic Sea, and that costed 1,200 euros. Not so expensive compared to other schools.
And how long is the program?
It started in September and ended in January.
Oh, okay. And how much is like student rent where you studied at Baltic Sea?
The student rent was 250 euros a month.
Okay. And you stay with a roommate or you stay by yourself?
It's a 2-in-a-room apartment actually. So you stay with someone in a room.
250 euros each. Oh.
Yes, that's because the part where the school it wasn't so much of a big town. It's a very small place. So finding accommodation was actually difficult. Then the least accommodation you get was actually expensive. So then on our side that was even a bit cheap compared to like other places. Looking at the fact that the place was small and accommodation was expensive.
Okay. All right, and then maybe the final question. How difficult was it when you were applying by yourself in Ghana? How many schools did you apply?
I kept seeing you like almost every time concerning my applications and all of that. It wasn't easy, especially applying to uni assist. And the fact that most of the information was in German, not in English. And my German level wasn't too high, and you had to like really understand their requirements and all of that. So then sometimes you might end up applying to a school that accepts B2, but then you have just B1. That's how it was. But then in the end of the day, it wasn't easy. But then, yeah, applying on my own was a bit tough. Like, but then at least I had help from people who were already here and all of that. So in the end of the day, I think I applied to 4 schools, if I'm not wrong. I applied to 4 schools.
So did you write entrance exam for all of them, or you just wrote for?
I wrote for Leipzig and I wrote for 2. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Leipzig and Nordhausen.
Yeah. All right, then at least that will bring us to the end of our session here. We will put the recording on our Facebook page. So perhaps if some of you might have missed some points, you can always go on our Facebook page. We'll update you with information, and also you can also click subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hear from us, about so many other programs and on. And thank you all for listening, and thank you also.
I want to add one more thing, please.
Yes.
I want to add one more thing. I would say one more thing, that the fact that you know that you're applying to a school in Germany doesn't mean that you have to take your WASI results lightly. For schools in Germany, your WASI results counts to 50% of the final results you need to enter into university.
Yeah.
So then, even like for some schools, like in the US and other countries, you don't necessarily need your WASI results. You have to have a particular exam. But then for here in Germany, you need your WASI results. It's really important. Like at the end of Studienkolleg, they take your Studienkolleg marks and then your WASI results marks, and then they put it together and divide by 2, and that'll be your average score. So that's what you need. So then, if your WASI results aren't good, then bad luck. But then if
you do very well in Studienkolleg to balance.
If you do well in Studienkolleg, then it can balance the fact that I didn't do well in WASI. But then if you do well in WASI and don't do well in Studienkolleg, then your WASI results could balance it out. But then if you don't do well in both of it, then the people here say page get out.
Oh, okay.
Then you have to take the WASI results serious too.
Yeah.
If you didn't, then you have a chance in Studienkolleg to better it. So it means when you get to Studienkolleg, you don't have to play games around. You have to be serious with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think also even if, let's say, you don't do well in the WASI and you write Novdek or so, you can add both all the results to apply, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you can add it. You can give it to Uni Assist. I think there's a way they can calculate everything and put it together as one grade. Yeah.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Mamiya, and we wish you the best in your studies. Perhaps later on we'll come back to you, maybe when you are in your final year, to discuss more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter.
So this is the end of the presentation. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.